Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us today. We will be discussing conversion rate optimization and how you can use this to get more customers from your existing website traffic. I'll share the agenda in a while and introduce our speakers so that we can get going with the webinar. Our speakers for the day are Vinay and Naresh from the Zoho PageSense team, and they will be helping you with the conversion rate optimization and bringing CRO into your marketing strategy and how you can go about doing this with Zoho PageSense. So quickly, Vinay is our CRO evangelist. He is responsible for growth marketing and business development at Zoho. He previously ran a startup that focused on providing CRO consulting to clients worldwide, and he is a certified usability analyst by Human Factors International. Our other presenter today is Naresh. He's the product manager of Zoho PageSense. He's a certified Google Analytics professional, and he's been in the CRO space for over 5 years. Let's quickly dive into the agenda of the webinar today. We'll have a basic of CRO and how it can positively impact your marketing strategy, followed by quick tips of getting started with website analytics and developing an idea to test, a dive into how the CRO process works, the tips and tricks, and an overview of Zoho PageSense CRO software. After all this, we'll have a question and answer session where you can share your feedback, ask questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. And now I'll let Vinay take over so that he can guide us through the CRO process and show us how we can use that to increase our conversions.
Thank you, Tanya. Hello, everyone. I'm Vinay, and I'm from the Zoho PageSense team. I know you might be wondering, what is this colorful slide doing in the webinar? So right now, I'm connected live from Brazil. A few of us from the Zoho team are here because we had a trade show called Zoholix in Brazil. We are in this beautiful city of Sao Paulo, and we had a very successful event of Zoholix. Zoholix was one of our trade shows that we do across the world. And this year, we will be visiting every single country where Zoho has a presence. So both Zoho customers and customers who are still thinking of joining Zoho, to buy any suite or products or Zoho One can get to know about the products, the people, the processes, and find out what we do locally in each of these countries. So with this, I would quickly like to get into the focus of our webinar today. So conversion rate optimization. And I know a lot of you might be thinking there's a bunch of jargons pasted all over my screen. So CRO has always been something I'm very passionate about, as it is multidisciplinary and cross-functional. It's a combination of IT, design, user experience, analytics, copywriting, qualitative research, marketing, photography, human psychology, and much more. Because like Sao Paulo, a city which has fusion of great art, culture, sports, music, and business, CRO is not just one single place where you find a secret way to find an optimization, because it's a combination of multiple things put together by different teams where we solve a common problem of trying to understand a user, helping a user, and in the while converting them as our buyers. So in this context, it doesn't really matter if you're optimizing the conversion rates for B2B or B2B, e-commerce, or SaaS. We are dealing with human beings who are more irrational and emotional. So humans don't come with an operating manual, right, like softwares do, but we do have scientific research and frameworks we can rely on to help us in optimization work. So let's move deeper into the topic. What really is CRO in the context of websites? How can you use the same website traffic that you get today to generate more sales and customer satisfaction? So conversion rate optimization is about doing better marketing. It's about understanding your customers better and providing them with a better experience, helping them complete the tasks faster, and simplifying everything. We can do this by knowing but not guessing. The difference between knowing, or as we call forming an educated hypothesis, and having an opinion is data. The critical part of conversion rate optimization is collecting good data, interpreting the data. If you have a bad data or you don't draw the right conclusions out of it, everything else becomes meaningless. So there's no point forming a hypothesis from a bad data, no point testing this stuff at all, right? So what is that we are doing here in conversion rate optimization? Are we optimizing for higher conversion rates? Well, actually, no, because think about this. If the only thing we wanted to do was to increase our conversion rate, we could slash prices in half or make everything cost $1 or 1 cent or free or whatever. More people would buy our stuff or sign up our stuff, and conversion rates would suddenly go up. But as a business, would we grow? No, in fact, we probably would go out of business. So it's not just about the conversion, increasing the conversion rates that we focus on, it's about the business growth. And it's also not about just random tactics or quick hacks to immediately get to something. It's about sustainable long-term business growth. Better marketing means that we know what people want and how they want it. Which words resonate with them? What are the emotional needs that we're satisfying? What do they really care about? And how does our product fits into their life? These are the questions that we really need to know from the customer standpoint, because not only does this help make better business decisions, but also when the business sense is applied to your websites. So the most important skill or an important factor for anyone getting into conversion rate optimization is knowing how to get those good data and how to draw conclusions out of those good data. But even so, this is just the beginning. You need to know a lot about people, how they think, what they want, the design, the copywriting, the statistics, working largely with the numbers, number crunching, usability, and frameworks and tools required for this. So conversion rate optimization is all about figuring out what people want and how they want it so we can deliver it to them that way. It's about better marketing and better business growth. So in the end, the question we are really asking is, how can we increase revenue and do so at profit? It's not just about the website copy or the layout of the website. You need to look at the bigger picture. Is the incoming traffic targeted, or are we using proper landing pages for those traffic that we are hyper targeting? What does the sales funnel look like? Are our content marketing and relationship building efforts made continuously both from the marketing team and the sales team? Or shopping cart abandonment recovery emails being sent out if you're an e-commerce player? Is the customer support great? Knowing all this upfront makes a huge difference in the process that we would be covering in the slides to come. So just to summarize, again, conversion rate optimization is about doing better marketing, and we need to approach it that way. So far I've just given what is CRO and why we really need to put an effort in understanding the CRO, the process, and investing our time and resource into it. So this is a quick slide that talks about various research and statistics that a lot of very authoritative websites and research agencies have published on optimizing websites and on conversion rate optimization. And if you all remember, there's the old marketing adage, half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. Or the more popular business theory that you look at the image here, the leaky bucket. In both business sense, as a business, we do not know if our investments are working in the way it should be, or as a business, we often look at always acquiring new customers but not giving attention to the paid customers. And with a lot of website owners, they're always focusing in, how can I bring more traffic to my site? How can I make more sales through the new traffic that I would get? But what we fail to understand as website owners and businesses, there's so much happening with your existing traffic. If we could just spend more time understanding what the traffic is and what the users are doing and where they're finding it difficult, I think instead of spending more time and more money acquiring new visitors to your website, you can convert a lot of these visitors that they're already visiting on your site and make them happy customers. So the next few slides, we will quickly talk about the process, the things that you can do to get started today if you want to do it right away. So best practices in CRO are the same as the example that we just spoke about. They work for half the website and you don't know which half your website belongs to. Blind copying and implementing best practices is kind of stupid. Nothing scientific about it. You're essentially using somebody else's solution to their problems for your problems. Best practices do have their place as a starting points. When in doubt how to solve a particular design issue, we can draw from experience of others and usability research and use it as an input to our design hypothesis. The rest of the design choices should always be driven by data. So you just started working on a new website or improving an existing website because you want to get more leads, more conversion, more sales, more lead generation. So where do you start? Whatever you're looking at the slide right now is again a best practices. You have access to your Google Analytics or any website analytics data. So traffic source and medium report are things that you have access to today. And what you test are things that we are suggesting from a lot of experiments that we have run personally. But then again, what works for us might not work for you. One of the typical beginner mistake that we often see with our customers and prospects is going through the spaghetti method. Start throwing stuff against the wall, see if it sticks. People start with random A/B testing ideas and then wonder why no gains were achieved. This not only kills the mood, but the momentum they're trying to get into of improving conversions. So what does a typical CRO process look like? Of course, there's no one heavenly process. There are very many ways to go about it, but let's talk about the typical process that tends to work for most companies that you can take and make your own. Every CRO process, every program starts with objectives. So what is that we're trying to achieve? Are we trying to get more phone calls? Are we trying to get more people to fill in the lead forms? You name it. It can be anything. And as a business, you can have multiple objectives. Now, once we have set the objectives and we know what we want to achieve, the second step is coming up with business questions. So far, for instance, a business questions can be like, what people see and what do they think about the offer? What do people really want? Now that's a business question. How are people using our website? What are they doing on this specific web page? Are they reading this or are they not reading this? So step number 2 is to ask as many as questions as possible. And once we know what it is that we want to know, we can go out there and gather the data. That's step number 3, data gathering. Data gathering is not something that where we install some analytics tool on our website and wait for the data to come, and then we don't know what to do with the data. This is the exact scenario most marketers and most website owners fail today. They have access to the data from Google Analytics and a lot many other analytics tool, but they do not know what to do with the data. If we start this business questions, we know exact purpose for the data. We know why the data is there. It's to answer these questions. So any data that is not answering the questions that you've already come up, it's not useful at all. So of course, in data gathering, we need to make sure that we are measuring everything that needs to be measured, but data itself is passive, right? Data doesn't tell you anything, even though we should be all data driven. There's no such thing as being data driven. It's all about being people driven. It's actually us, the human beings, who have to look at the data, interpret the data, and pull insights out of these data. So that's step number 4, turning data into insights, because data is useless and insights are more valuable. So what do we think the data tells us here? Once we get the insights, we have to use them to identify problems or identify opportunities for our websites. So that brings us to step number 5, make a list of all the problems that we have identified so far. For instance, it might be unusability problems. It might be a clarity issue where people don't understand what we do, or they don't understand how to use our website. Maybe the navigation is failing. It might be problems like maybe we have too many things on the page and people are just overwhelmed. Or it might be people like we're not connecting to people's actual needs. They're like, Once we have a list of all the problems, once we have a list of all the opportunities, we need to turn these into hypotheses. So that is the next step, developing a proper hypothesis. Step number 6. A hypothesis is based on the data observed. We think by making this change for this group of users that this will happen. So we have to phrase every idea for a solution to a problem as a hypothesis. We don't know what will work because even if we know what the problems are, that does not mean that we know what is the optimal solutions. So far, the same problem, we might have multiple hypotheses for us to what might solve the problem. So one step, we have a list of hypotheses. The next step is design. We need to design the treatments. So if we have a layout, let's say a mobile landing page or an e-commerce product page, whatever the pages, the changes that we need to make in the design and copy to try and see if the hypothesis is valid and if you're able to influence the user's behavior. The design changes might not be big, they might be very small. It might be small copy changes, or it might be totally a radically different design version. So that totally depends on your actual business problems. So once we've solved the design, the copy issues, we need to code them up to either make a permanent changes on the website, or better yet, build those as tests using CRO testing tools like Zoho PageSense to measure which of these variation or changes actually perform. The next step, and the most important step, is the post-test analysis. So once we declare the test is done, we have to look at what happened. It's very important for us to figure out what actually matters to users. So learning can be both ways. This matters to users, or this does not matter to them. So we can keep on focusing or not focusing on these things. The final step is documentation. So whatever we learn, we need to have a way to document or archive our learning results so we can share it across our organization to our team members and so on. And of course, then the cycle repeats itself over and over and over again. Instead, the 12th step that was just provided in this presentation is what conversion rate optimization as a process really is and should be described. But we also have a much simpler version, a more simple version of the detailed steps that you just saw. Ultimately, all we're trying to focus is align our business objectives to our website conversion goals, identify problems that we have today, convert them into ideas, more so as questions, and test those hypotheses. So once you've tested these hypotheses, you then execute a cycle of continuous improvement. Being continuous really, really matters here, because the more you learn from what you've tested and the more questions that you come up as a business, that drives the change for the CRO. So one common question people ask, so when does the conversion optimization end? The correct answer is never. You can always do better than you did last month. The world is always changing, right? Your business is evolving, and so is your competitive landscape, new technologies, you name it, right? Change is the name of the game, and you need to keep up with it. Conversion rate optimization is just the part of it. And my favorite step is always going back to step 2, be it in these 5 steps or in the 12 steps that we just spoke about, is to always come up with as many as questions as possible, both from a user perspective as from a business perspective, because we are always looking at solving what can make a user happier, how can we make our website more accessible. So to me, the CRO is a cycle. You test, you come up with results, you go refine, and you continue testing things until you know we are doing the best that we can do for our customers. So I would always say, always be testing. So with this, I'll pass on to the next speaker, Naresh, who's our product manager for Zoho PageSense. A lot of what we just went through as a process, as what CRO stands today, can all be implemented using tools like Zoho PageSense. So Naresh is going to quickly give you a demo in the context of what we have discussed so far in the presentation. So Naresh, over to you.
Thanks, Vinay. Thanks for the detailed discussions on how CRO is helpful for the business.
Having seen how vital conversion rate optimization is for your business, let's now see how PageSense helps you achieve it. In PageSense, we have two different modules, the Analyze module and the Experiment module. The Analyze module contains heat map and funnel analysis, whereas the Experiment module has the A/B test and the split URL test. As discussed earlier, the first step in your CRO process is identifying the test hypothesis. You have to identify which particular page in your website is performing well, which is having higher drop-offs, which particular page or the element in the page is not doing well. So all these can be done with the help of the analyze module in PageSense. We have two different features. One is funnel analysis and the second one is heat maps. We will start with funnel analysis first. So with the help of funnel analysis, you will be able to identify which particular page has higher drop off and which particular page is having good number of conversions, right? Every website has its own funnel associated with it. For example, in an e-commerce website, it should be basically adding the product to the cart page, checking out, and successful payment. Whereas in a SaaS B2B business, it can be a sign up funnel or it can be a subscription funnel. And once you set up the funnel, with the help of PageSense, we will be able to track how many visitors are entering the funnel and how many of them convert. Similarly, we also have the heat map part, which helps you to identify which particular element in your website has higher concentration of visitors, which particular element is not performing well. Let's take a sample website for this webinar. I have taken a B2B product website, and it has a home page, feature page, pricing page, a sign up page, and a subscription page. Let's start with the funnel analysis here. Home page to features page to pricing page to subscription page in PageSense and see how it performs. The funnel analysis gives you all these metrics: how many visitors have entered the funnel, how many conversions are reported in the funnel, what is the conversion rate, and what is the average time taken to complete this particular funnel. And for each step, we give the total number of visitors in each step, and we also give the total number of drop-offs in each and every step. So a typical funnel analysis is easy to set up. You give the URLs in each step, the path which is taken by the customers. So once you define the funnel analysis, we'll start recording it. So once you identify which particular page has higher drop off in the funnel, the next step would ideally be setting up a heat map for the particular page. Setting up a heat map gives you the details of which particular part of the page is performing well and which particular part of the page is not performing well. Say I set up the heat map for this particular page, and a heat map typically gives the total number of clicks in each and every element and how many people, what is the percentage of the clicks. The metrics in PageSense heat maps are: we show the total number of visitors, how many visitors have engaged with the web page, also how many visits in total from them, what are the total number of clicks, and the clicks per visit. We also give you the list of the top engaged elements in your website. So clearly you can identify which particular element is doing well for you and which element is not doing well for you. And the homepage link has 4,000 clicks, whereas the feature page has 7,400 clicks, and the portfolio and pricing have got much higher clicks. So the basic inference from this would be people are more interested towards your pricing, what are the portfolio you handle. This is an inference which you get from heat map. Also, we have device specific heat map, where if I say I want to see how my mobile visitors perform in my website, I can see the heat map for mobile visitors. So we track what are the total number of visits and total number of taps in each and every visits in mobile. So we also have scroll maps along with the heat map feature. The scroll map gives you the scrolling pattern of your website. Say for example, at this particular point of the web page, there are only 66% of the visits, and we also give device specific scroll maps as well. If you want to see the scrolling pattern in mobile, this gives you a good advantage of which particular element is seen by how many percentage of visitors to your website. Say for example, if you have the CTA at the bottom of the screen and only 50% of your visitors are able to see that, then you are clearly able to identify that the major part of your website is not being visible to most of them. Once you identify which particular page you have to test and which element you have to make the changes for, the next step on your CRO process is testing your hypothesis. So that can be done in two different ways. We have two different ways of testing in PageSense. One is A/B testing, and the other one is split URL testing. A/B testing helps you to make small changes to your website. Say I want to change the position of the CTA, or I want to change the color of a button, or I want to change the content of a banner. I can do it with the help of A/B testing. Whereas split URL testing is used when you have two different layout of web pages which you want to test. Say for example, I have an old web page which I want to test with the new website which I am coming up. I can compare them with the help of split URL testing. Now let's see how A/B testing can be created with the help of PageSense. In PageSense, we have an visual editor, which we call as what you see, what you get editor. It completely eliminates the need of a developer to make the changes. So it's easy for a marketer to make the changes on the fly and target a particular set of audience and do the A/B testing for. Say this is the editor, and say for example, you want to change the text of sign up free here, and you want to make it as try for free as one variant, and other variant I want to make get started now. So these are the changes which I make in two different variations. Also, I can say I want to change the sign up button color. Here I have the option to change the color from red to green, so I do the changes there. And also I can do multiple changes to a single variation. Once I am done with the changes, the next step in A/B testing is setting up goals for your experiment. So there has to be a primary goal set up for each and every A/B testing experiment, and they can have multiple secondary goals as well. Say for example, I want to click on the sign up button. I select that, and I name the goal as sign up, and I yeah. So I create a goal. You can also add multiple goals. Say I had a time spent on page goal. I have say if a user spends more than 30 seconds in my web page, I treat it as a conversion. I can set that. We offer 7 different types of goals: track click on elements, track click on links, track the page views for a particular URL. You can also track revenue if you are on, if you can associate a revenue with a particular page which you're doing an A/B testing for. You can also have track the engagements in a particular web page, and you can also track a custom event in a page. So these are different types of goals which you can set in a website. So once you are done setting up the goal, you can move ahead and go to the next step, which is setting up the audience for your website. So you can decide how much percentage of your visitors you want to be exposed to the A/B testing for. Say I want only 50% of my visitors to be exposed to this A/B test. I can set it up here in the participation. So once I have done that, I can decide which particular set of audience I need to target for. By default, it's set for all the visitors. We have some preset audience segments as well. Again, the direct visitors, the organic search, the social search, the referral traffic, the mobile traffic. These are some of the preset audience. You can also define the custom set of audience you want to target. Say for example, I want to target people who are coming from US. I'll select the location and say location from say New York, USA. So I select that. And I also want to target people who use only mobile. I can select them, and I can create a name, audience name for that, and I can save that. The next step is setting up the configuration of your A/B testing. You can set up the traffic split between the different variations. By default, it is equally split, and you can make the changes to a particular split for a particular variation. We also have different type of experiments modes. It can either be quick trends, optimal, or high accuracy. It's based on the statistical significance. Once you launch the A/B test, we'll start recording the visitors. A/B testing report is shown in a screen. Say the A/B test which we ran actually got a winner. We'll be showing a detailed report on each and every goal, how many visitors, how many conversions, and what is the conversion rate. We'll also have the difference interval between the original and the variation, and what is the total number of improvement the particular variation has got. So in this case, there has been close to 9.3 percentage of improvement for variation 1, which is actually declared as a winner for the primary goal. Similarly, for the secondary goal, the variation 1 is a winner here with an improvement of 18 percentage. There is another feature called forecasting in A/B testing. Forecasting helps you to identify the trend of the A/B test which you run. For each and every variation, we provide the forecasting trend of the next 3 or 4 data points, and it helps you to save time by identifying the trend and helping you make informed decisions early before the experiment provides you the result. So we also have experiment specific heat maps. Say for example, I have 3 or 4 different variation pages which I've created. I want to see the heat map interactions for each and every page. I can do that with the help of variation specific heat map as well. So once you have run all the A/B test, heat map, and funnel analysis, you can go ahead and derive insights from the results of your experiments. So you can do that with the help of segmentation. We provide 7 different types of segments. You can segment the data based on visitor type, source, country, device type, browser, operating system, day of the week, and hour of the day. You have default set displayed here. You can also go ahead and form your custom segments using advanced option. So once you select a particular segment for which you want to see the data for, we will be applying the filters, and the results will be segmented for you. In this way, you will be able to derive insights in a better way and make informed decisions for your future testing as well as future decision making. In PageSense, you have an option to collaborate with your team members. You can invite the team members to your projects. We have 3 different roles. As a project owner, you can create and run experiments. As a editor, you can just create an experiment but not publish it. But as a view option, you can come and view the results of your web page. You can also create experiments with the help of our Chrome extension. The major use of Chrome extension is to test the pages which are beyond login sessions. Say for example, I want to test a website which is beyond a login screen. I can go to that particular web page. Then using Chrome extension, I can launch an experiment, or I can view the reports of that particular page. Let me show an example for you. This particular Chrome extension gives me the list of experiments which have already been run on this particular page. Say I have a heat map experiment running, so which has 12,000 visits, total number of clicks, as well as we provide the clicks per visit. So on clicking the view report, the heat map is loaded on the live web page. So for example, if a website is beyond the login screen, using the Chrome extension, we can easily load the heat map on a live web page. We provide the device specific heat maps and scroll maps through our extension as well. And you also have an option to launch a heat map experiment or an A/B testing experiment from the Chrome extension. PageSense currently integrates with 6 different products in the market. Our major integrations are with Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, Google AdWords. We also integrate with Kissmetrics, Mixpanel, and Clicky. With internal Zoho products, as of now, we are integrated with Zoho sites. We are working on integrating with multiple other Zoho products, which will be coming soon. Here is a summary of what PageSense offers. We have a Chrome extension with the help of which you can test and view reports of pages which are beyond login screens. We have role-based access. We have audience targeting. We have support for the single-page applications. So to mention a little bit more about this, we have an out-of-the-box support for single-page applications where no extra configuration is needed from the user end, and we by default track the single-page applications and run experiments for them. We also have option to share reports with your team members, and we also have the forecasting of A/B testing. So these are the features which we currently have in our tool. We are also coming up with multiple other features which are in the pipeline. So one such feature is form analytics, which should be out very soon. So here is a sneak peek of it, and so in form analytics, we will be providing the details of how the user interacts with the form, how many visitors have come to the form, how many people have started interacting with the form, how many conversions or how many drop-offs. We also have field level metrics, which we will be giving with in form analytics. Here is a testimonial from Peplaya, founder of Conversion Excel. Here is what he had to say about PageSense.
Over to Tanya. She will take care of the rest of the part.
Thank you, Naresh. I think that was a very comprehensive demo that you showed us. And continuing from where Vinay left off, CRO isn't a simple growth hack. It is an iterative cycle that can have a positive impact on sustained business growth. And Naresh's demo is a clear indication of this fact, that it goes on in cycles and you have to analyze and test till you reach proper and increased conversion rate. A quick recap, CRO tools like Zoho PageSense play a quick role in conversion optimization because they help in increasing the speed of execution of such processes by giving tools for easy analysis and testing, providing insights and inferences based on the data shown, and which can help us reiterate what we've designed our hypothesis to be. And then it can help us to tweak and refine our digital marketing goals, Besides this, it can help us provide instant user-based personalization and advanced targeting. So all in all, in a sum up, it is very crucial to understand that CRO together, along with understanding of how your visitors behave and testing your ideas, can go a long way in increasing your website conversions. In case you want to meet the Zoho PageSense team or know more about conversion rate optimization, you can meet us in one of these events. We'll be present in Conversion Excel between March 28th to 30th in Austin, Texas. Next, we'll be present in Zoholics between April 11th and 12th in Austin, Texas as well. And finally, in Brighton SEO in Brighton, UK on the 27th of April. Feel free to drop by. We will be sharing a special promo code with all the webinar attendees so that you can come and meet us at a fraction of a cost. We'll be entertaining questions now. So we already have a couple of questions at hand. If you have any further questions, feel free to drop them. I'll let Vinay, Naresh answer a couple of questions which we got earlier. Over to you, Naresh.
Yeah, thanks, Tanya. So we have a question from Lee Stanley. His question was, how detailed you can go with your location? My main views are UK. Could I find out where in UK the specific cities, for example? To answer the question, yes, Lee, we do have options to either target a particular city or any geographical location for that matter, a city, state, or does this work, the A/B testing specifically, with external websites or WordPress websites, or is it only with Zoho sites? PageSense works with all the websites. It works with WordPress, it works with Zoho sites. It works with any website for that matter. So we do not have any restrictions on that. We had a question from Dustin. Our page previews are loading pages before all CSS is rendered. Is there any way to delay the heat map and scroll map preview until the full pages are rendered? It is a function of our WordPress theme, and I cannot change that. I can also send the screenshot if it helps. Hey, Dustin, there is also a follow-up of that question. I installed the Chrome extension plugin to view the live page, and it works, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, I was about to answer you that. So we do have a Chrome extension through which you'll be able to see the heat map on your live web page. So if you're using an HTTP page or you use a page similar to what Dustin has described here, we recommend you to use the Chrome extension, which will eliminate all your issues, and you can view the live heat map in your web page. I have a question from Xavier. It was, will you provide recording of this webinar? Yeah, we will definitely be sharing the recording with you. The next question is from John. Is it supported in standard web pages or only Zoho sites? I think I just answered that question. So we do support all the websites and not restricted only to Zoho sites. Does it work with Wix website? Earlier, Wix was not having a support for third-party JS snippets to be integrated into Wix, but right now Wix has released a method through which we can actually integrate the third-party JS snippets into Wix. So yes, we do support in Wix websites right now. And a question from Peter Coy. On a split URL test, do you create two different separate web pages with unique URLs? And can you test more than two variations? Yes, Coy. So we can test multiple variations in a single experiment. So with respect to your first question, on a split URL test, do you create two separate web pages with unique URLs? Yes. In a split URL test, as I explained in the webinar, you test two different web page layouts as such. So two different web page layouts which are hosted, you test them. For example, you have an existing web page, you come up with a design of a new web page, you want to test which performs better, you do a split URL test. Whereas in A/B testing, you do a minor change to your website layout. Say I change the content of the web page, or I change the say the color of the button or the CTA in my web page. I do the A/B test. In A/B test, the URL does not change, whereas in split URL, each and every variation will have a unique URL by itself. Just working on the Chrome app, and it's awesome. Thanks, Lee, for the compliments.
Thank you for the questions. I think we had, if there are any further questions, we'd love to answer them. I think we had a really good brainstorming session with a lot of questions coming in, really informative things that we learned through Naresh's demo and his answers. So I think we can proceed to wrap up the webinar if you don't have any further questions. Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much. It's great to know that you enjoyed the webinar, and we've left you with some thoughts about how you can increase your conversions with PageSense. Thank you so much for staying with us, everybody. I hope this webinar has helped you understand the importance of CRO and PageSense in our marketing strategy. If you have any further questions besides these, any suggestions, any feedback, anything that you'd like us to know, feel free to drop a line to our support email address listed here, support@zohopagesense.com. You can visit our website for more details about Zoho PageSense, or even reach us in our community. Thank you so much for being with us today. Hope you have a good day.